feeling teary. I don't really know why. It's the 4th of July. There's my van, parked like 2 blocks from my own house. I drove around the neighborhood, maybe a mile or 2, before realizing I don't really want to go anywhere. Brian's out disc golfing. I'm in my cute made-up 4th of July outfit. Red and white, blue, butterflies or something. I think there's a butterfly with the American flag on it. Knee socks. I can't even tell what I'm showing you, to be honest. That might have been really weird. Close up on things you probably don't want to be close up on, but who knows? I have no idea. So I guess I'll be honest. I mean, I always try to be honest, but I also try to be wise in being vague so that this is relatable, or that's the wrong word. So that this is, I don't know. I don't want this to ever be something where I'm like telling other people's stories, I guess. I only really want to tell my story, and that's not narcissism. It's the opposite. It's like a care for all the people that I know that know me, that I don't want to make uncomfortable to be in my life and have idiosyncrasies the same way I do. I would feel pretty weird if I were really close to someone who constantly talked about their life specifics. If in the talking of their life specifics, they constantly included details of my life, I'd be like, can you not share that? And then, you know, that gets into issues of like, I've never liked the idea of feeling like you have to assume everything someone tells you is a secret unless they say otherwise. Like, I kind of assume the other way around. That like, if someone's going to open up to me about something, I assume that unless they say, hey, this is a secret, don't tell anybody this. I assume that it's not a big deal if I vaguely talk about their life lessons with others, as long as I'm vague and not like mean-spirited about it. Like if I'm just like, oh yeah, I have a friend who went through something like that, or I have a friend who struggles with blah blah blah, you know, and maybe not say the person and not give any details. But if someone says something is totally secret, then I tend to not even do that. But, and this probably just comes from trauma, like not wanting to live a life where I have to assume that if I have communication with anybody that everything is secret. I don't like to feel like I'm other people's therapist and bearing the burdens of their complaints or concerns or criticisms about other people. I don't like to be the receiver of that heavy of a weight. And so I think I learned that one from, well, I won't say who, someone close to me. I think they used to say to people like, I'm not good at secrets. Like, they don't want to have to hear your secrets. Like, don't tell me, I'll accidentally say it. And that, it's like, you know, it's like a way of asking people not to burden you with their heaviest things. I don't know. I don't even honestly know what I'm saying right now. Or rather, I know exactly what I'm saying right now, but I don't know why I'm sharing it. So, I'll tell you where I am. I have a keyboard and a uke in hand. I am by this park, school called, oh gosh, I think it used to be called Ferry School. Ferry Street's right there. Well, that's Penoyer. I think now it's called like Voyager. Anyway, look at this little outdoor learning area. It's very cute. This is the spot for the teacher. Maybe I was meant to come here and I can sit and teach on the 4th of July. I think I made one of my YouTube videos here back in the 365 days challenge. Before I write any songs, I guess I just want to say I'm feeling a little sad, but I don't think I'm sad. I think I'm just feeling reverent. And I think it's important to distinguish these kinds of things. Like, if you're ever feeling low, I just wonder sometimes if the things that send us into heavier feelings like depression or something is just mislabeling or miscategorizing things and giving everything the same heavy name, when really you might just be feeling like reverent or poetic, or like right now that wood looks really beautiful to me, and the sun feels nice, and the grass looks really green, and I'm alone, even though 4th of July is historically a celebratory day, so I don't always feel as good being alone on a day like that. But, you know, I'm really drained from finishing the compilations and everything, and finishing that yesterday, and I slept extra, which was good, and Brian got asked to go out and do something with a friend, and so I had no reason to be like, no, I had nothing I wanted to do, so it's just a little strange. I know last 4th of July we had band practice and like a cookout, and then the next day I left for my writing retreat in Chicago. So this is like the 1-year anniversary of what I called on my band camp Peak/Peak, PEAK/PEEK. And I had a show planned on July 8th, opening at my house for Brianna Morella. And if you don't know her, she is/was on the Jaguar label, and that's the same label that Bon Iver is on. And I mean, it was like less than 2 years of effort to build up to something as maybe 3 years of effort in Michigan, if you include 2016 and Lady Fest efforts. And I guess I could include 2015's efforts because I did Lamplight. So fine, 4 years. But still, I worked much longer and much harder than that in Chicago to be a part of a scene. And I found it somewhat in 2008 and 9 with Elizabeth Blair and Christy Wilder and a lot of theater people doing random like singer-songwriter sets inside of bizarre, like quirky, kind of edgy storefront theater kind of spaces. And so I definitely found a scene there, but then a lot of the people that I was close to or connected to moved away. And then my life changed a lot too. So I don't know, it's chicken and egg a little bit. But here, I definitely felt very connected, and like by the time of like 2018, I felt very known and connected. And I guess this is relevant because a few days from now I'm hoping to release an EP that I wrote live on Instagram called Known/Unknown, and it just kind of explores some themes. My own obsession with becoming more known, my own obsession/awareness with feeling unknown, my reflections on what any of that even is, and how there's so many comforts in being unknown, and I enjoy them regularly, like constantly. And then the pressures of being known, and I started to experience those last year, you know, already having a full plate, but then being asked to do like 3 more things on top of our full plate, and squeezing in like 3 different, bumblebee. I cannot stay here if that bee is gonna watch me. No offense, bee, sorry. Ooh, I see him, he's just hovering. Pressure, that's funny, it's right when I was talking about pressure. That really is, I also was way too hot, that was right in the sun. So, I won't be a teacher. I will not sit in the direct teacher's circle. I'll be over here off to the side doing my thing. Cool metaphor, thanks B. So, I didn't get stung, he just kind of like hung out by my friendship bracelet. See, and that's another metaphor, because friendship is something that goes out the window when I was getting too busy. So I think it was around May, even June of 2019, that every single weekend had like 3 things in it, or it had a full weekend thing, like my sister coming over on the boat from Wisconsin, or I don't know, it was like every weekend. Stream Forest, playing on Stream Forest Live. It was like a live stream show in some like $70,000 sound system basement by this guy, and Kevin, I think was his name. I mean, it was just, and then that was squeezed in on top of a weekend my parents were coming, I think, and then I was asked to record at Third Coast Recording, like at midnight one night, to like help, whatever, it's a long story. But I just remember feeling like, and that must be like, that's my experience of knowing what it feels like being known, because when you're known, you know, like if I think of like a classic example of somebody known who's been in my Instagram feed quite a bit in the last month or two is Cyndi Lauper. And like, to be that level of known, you know, then you are hosting something and you're leading something and you're presenting something and you're performing at something and you're in demand and you're needed and you're asked. You're not needed, you're asked. And historically I've had a horrible time saying no to things. I don't know how to say no and live in that fear that I might regret something, and so I would just say yes to everything. And then conversely, separate from the fear, I didn't ever want to be disliked, and so if people asked me to do something, sometimes even if I didn't want to do it, I didn't know how to live in that feeling of, I don't want to do this, but I don't want you to not like me, and so let me figure out how to do it, or let me explain it in a million words so that I don't feel guilty, so that you have sympathy for me. And it's just too much. So that's what I look like when I'm known, you know. So I think unknown, broad scale unknown is way better for me. It's peaceful. I can study trees and see tiny pine cones. I can be as known as I want to try to be just by having a weirdo YouTube channel where I explore philosophical themes of what it's like to be alive. But I just do it in my own soft way and without really any themes or without any like branding. And that's the thing, I feel like in the past people saw what I was doing and then in that known way started giving me suggestions. Well, why don't you make these more of this, and why don't you create a header, and why don't you edit them, and why don't you create a cute little banner, and like, I don't know, why don't you organize this and organize that and organize it so that it's something other people will like. And like, first of all, F you. Like, why don't you organize it so that it's something other people will like, is like saying, like, I don't like this, but here's how I could like it. And like, keep that thought to yourself. Like, I'm serious. Not everybody in the world likes things that are slick and polished and organized. And that's my fire. And that's my fire firing back at you. Like, if that is who you are, if you believe that when you look at things that your righteous A needs to tell them what's wrong with them and make it more like what you approve of or believe has value in the world, unsolicited. Now, if they ask you, that's a totally different story. If I was going out in the world and saying, hey people, I'm not very famous or successful and I want to make money from my weird YouTube videos, and they're always different lengths and different topics and different levels of quality in terms of audio, like can you hear it, or in terms of I'm just writing this song just now so it's meandering and maybe not good, and I'm going to ask you your opinion of what could I do to make these better. If I said that, bring it, you know. But I'm very much not saying that because I know all these things. I do these like as a form of personal therapy, as a form of personal history, as a form of trying to like understand what have these years felt like. Why did I take on a 365 songs in 365 days challenge? I had never really used my YouTube much before that, unless you go back like a decade before to my old Jessica Fogel channel. Or there was a little burst right around when I was promoting the Catalyst album, but that was also just kind of from pressure from others. People would be like, why aren't you doing such and such and such and such and such and such and such? And it's like, I don't know. I was shy. I didn't want to. I was embarrassed. I didn't feel like I'd be doing it the right way. I figured all of you would judge me or laugh at me if I was myself. Kind of true. Kind of what it ended up being. Like, the traditional people of the world, or the people who like things to make sense, wouldn't probably get behind this. And I do want to let you off the hook, but I mean, all of you already went away from here, which is great. So the only people who really follow me are like kind of fellow freaks and weirdos and people who have either a bigger than life sensibility, or a weirder than life sensibility, or just a I don't follow the rules sensibility. Like, that's what I've always naturally attracted. And the only times I've attracted differently is when I was in a very specific role. Like, I'm your teacher, you're the student, or I'm the director of the play and you're cast in the play, or I'm this and you're that. You know, when those roles are there, sure. And I know this because I recently retook my INFJ, INFP quiz. Because I used to think I was an INFJ just because the first time I took it, I was in like a judging teaching role and was inside a lot of beliefs that weren't even mine. They were just inherited. But I've retaken it like 3 times since then, all in the last few years, and I'm always an INFP. So, if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. It's everywhere. Anyway, my point is, I feel soft today like a cloud, and I feel a little sad, but I also feel hopeful. And I feel joy knowing that it's okay to do these just for me, or for me and 3 other people, or for me and 20 people 5 or 2 years from now. Like, some people come and find these later. But I can't do it for that. I can't do it for some sort of weird posterity where I have this random imaginary belief that 5 or 20 years from now I'll mean something to random people that I probably won't ever even meet. And if I did meet them, they'd probably just want things from me. Like, these are just, they're just here. The same way you're here right now. If you're watching this, you are also here right now. You know? I'm here, you're here, we're just enjoying this day. My day happens to be July 4th, 2020. Yours might be July 18th, 2022. I don't know. We're just here. Sometimes, not very often, but sometimes I go back and watch these, and my future version of myself, future to the past one that I'm watching, gets a lot out of that, to kind of re-experience what was I struggling with at that time. Because it helps me understand the albums or the songs I was writing at that time. And the quarantine is actually kind of, it feels like, escalated some of my elevation or my evolution in the world. And making these 3 compilation albums and all the challenges that come with wanting to help people, chasing after people, letting people go, wishing for certain things, having them not come true, realizing that I'm expecting way too much of myself, realizing that then that translates to expecting possibly too much from other people. Just sort of the way that trying to bring, I mean, it ended up 126 tracks of music, bringing all that into the world, knowing there were some people that I wished had been part of it that didn't end up feeling able to do something. But then there were some people that I didn't even know would want to be part of it. I asked them casually, and they ended up being very excited, and, you know. I guess I've just been very rigid in my post-trauma life. I think I just invented my new genre, post-trauma music. Because I don't feel like I have very much trauma anymore. I have the nicest, most intuitive boyfriend, significant other, partner. Very intuitive and in touch with what he needs and also with what I need at different times in any given moment. And we fight, but like it's nothing like what I grew up thinking fighting was. No offense to like my family or friends or ex-boyfriends, really. Well, offense to a few ex-boyfriends, but like, yeah, it's just soft. It's softer than a lot of, overall, a lot of what I thought being in a relationship would be. It's much softer. Because I'm an Aries and a horse, and so I never really got to have soft unless the other person kind of modeled it for me and I could follow what their idea of like a soft floating like a cloud kind of dreamy way to go through life was. And yeah, he's a definite dreamy vibe. Dream master. Anyway, now I am telling his story, but I guess that's my story. Whatever. I'm gonna write some songs. I don't even know how to set this up. I could maybe go like I hope it won't stay way down there. It's kind of strange, but it works. Well, I find that whenever my mental health gets kind of wonky, like on a day like this, it's just really important for me to be aware that I will pick up old resentments. I will pick up old thoughts. Ways I felt sorry for myself. Some people that I really admire recently, I saw they were saying something like, "Don't feel sorry for me." They were telling a story, and then they added that right in the midst of a really sad story. Don't feel sorry for me. So I want to say that to you. Don't feel sorry for me. I have had a lot of trauma, and I do bring it up a lot, but I bring it up a lot probably because I want to normalize the idea of having trauma and living in acknowledgement of trauma. You know, and I know my videos probably should say trigger warning on all of them, because I might just randomly mention having my head thrown into the floor by a man who was probably on coke. And I probably shouldn't just say that out loud, but those were some dark times when I was at college, so whatever. Anyway, wow, pretty close. So, happy 4th of July, and to my 1 year ago Jessica self, I'm glad you got through the argument that you were in. I'm glad that you got through the experiences that followed, where you were criticized for some things. I'm glad you learned that you have a people-pleasing tendency that goes over the top, and sometimes people aren't even asking you to help them, but you just swoop in and play savior, and sometimes that's actually a weird form of offensive, especially if it then becomes something where people don't thank you for the ways that you helped them because they never wanted to be helped by you, even if they kept implying that they wanted things from you. Like, it's not your job to save people, and it's not your job to swoop in and be princess fairy godmother for people's wants and dreams and wishes. And that's ironic because I just made this compilation album, and not all 126 people did, felt helped by me by any means, but some people did say that it made them feel included in something for the first time in a long time, and I just have to be very careful not to do things for that reason, because I have a slippery slope kind of tendency that I learned probably in 12-step rooms, of thinking that it's somehow my moral obligation as a person on the other side of some sort of healing journey, obviously still continuing to heal, but to think you have to constantly give everything back, to think that, I don't know, it's kind of like ending up in teacher or therapist mode or something. Maybe that's even where these videos come from. But it's actually not that good for me, and I had a person last year kind of show me that through their behavior, and not really and to be fair, maybe it just was some distance was needed, that's all. So, because we're not right for everybody. Some people appreciate that I'm helpful in their lives, and that I celebrate them, and that I raise them up, and that I compliment them all the time, and I gush about them, and I try to give them opportunities, and some people love that about me and think it's cool. And the people that maybe don't appreciate it, or find it annoying, or find it too communicative, or too, whatever they find it, the people who find me overwhelming, it's hard to realize that it's okay to go separate ways from people in one department, but still be connected in another department. And I think that's been one of the harder lessons of my life, because I think I really like being black and white. But, you know, sometimes we have families or families of friends that connect in one way or get along in one way, but that don't really accept us or understand us or vibe with us, maybe would be the best way of putting it, in other ways. And it's just like this soft allowing, maybe, like allowing them to not really like certain sides of your personality. And maybe that's what some people know from being in families or other systems, workplaces. And it's something I feel like I just didn't know. Like how to like not take everything personally and not turn everything into, well, turn into is very judgmental back at myself. And I don't want to say that about myself. How to not legitimately experience things as like personal drama or personal sadness and feel that the solution is like talking about it with the person directly. It's almost like, or hiding it and talking about it behind their back with another trusted person like a therapist or a best friend. And either way, it's drama. Either way, it's turning difficulties into bigger problems through focusing on them. So what I've been trying to learn to do nowadays is really, truly just focus on things that elevate me and bring me joy, and make me feel like I have a purpose, make me feel like who I am is okay. I try to focus on the people who find value in who I am, not the people who find annoyance in who I am, because I am a very specific and or big person. I mean, we all really are, but I don't know. It was really hard a year ago. I'm not gonna lie. That was a really, really hard part of my journey. So, I guess I'm grateful that it's a year later and that I got to have that retreat 1 year from tomorrow in Chicago and realized that I wanted to start walking back down the mountain and accept that the level of pushing myself that I had done was enough. I didn't need to push myself to become someone who tours 300 days a year, or push myself to become somebody on some major label, or push myself to become somebody who's like indie freak folk but really, really, really well known. I just didn't have to push myself anymore. I don't know what I ever really pushed myself for, other than maybe when I was younger, being an A student. And when you're an A student and you're a kid and you get that much validation just for existing and doing the work that's asked of you to do, that much validation really changes a person. Because you go out into the big bad world where there isn't that much validation and you start looking for it, because the world really isn't going to give it to you. Bosses might not give it to you, partners might not give it to you, significant others or work partners. Family might not give it to you. You might just walk around like with this vague cloud feeling, and then if you ask people what they think of certain things you do, they might gush at you all of a sudden, and you'll be like, oh, I didn't know you thought that. I thought you didn't like or approve of what I was doing at all. Birds on the trees are dancing with their song, and I am on my knees, feel for so long, and it is hard to change your tune. In mid-song, it's hard to let go of the ways you've been wrong for you. Been wrong, like I let go in a dream so long ago, and I'm finding I can't allow it to be. I'm finding I can't allow you to do this to me, to do those things to me, to hold me like some kind of clay that makes you feel small just by being okay, being around you and being okay, and that annoys you, how much I'm okay with saying what I feel, or how much I'm okay with cowering to you and tiptoeing around your anger, how much I'm okay being small when I'm not small at all, when I'm not small at all. And you saw the ways I made myself small for you, and you hated it. You hated it, you do, you still do, the way I make myself small for you. You hate that about me, you do, you do, you do. It makes you feel so dang guilty, and maybe you should, but that's not my place to teach you the world. It's not my place to teach you about your own guilt, because you taught me about mine, and I felt so guilty all the time, just knowing you and wanting the best for you. In my hyper-manic ways, wanting the best for you, and trying so hard to always save you from yourself. But it's your story, it's your life. I was in the way and judging you harshly. I was so afraid to be consumed by you or my love for you. I was so afraid of you, but you taught me more than I ever taught you. I was so afraid. I was so afraid to be myself with you, with you, with you. This cardinal landed right up there. I can't keep playing because it's the cutest thing. I just want to look at the cardinal. Hi, buddy. He came even closer. Maybe because I'm singing quieter now. Cardinal songs. Okay, we'll do a new key for the cardinal, although he probably likes the key of F. I don't know why I think that. Let's keep it. Cardinal. 1, 2, 3. 2, 2, 3. Cardinal. Red bird, you taught me a lot. Cardinal, red bird, you taught me to stand my ground. Cardinal bird, red bird, you always will, I always do, I always will, I always do. I just needed to stand my ground. I always will, I always do, I always have, I always do. I just needed to learn to stand my ground. For me, not for you. For me, not for you. For me, not for you. I'm 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 not for you. I am for me. I am for me. I don't know what you need when I tried to know that. I didn't know what you need, and it made you so mad. And I can't be the thing you need. I can't bow and bend and always concede, and then be yelled at for how I conceded to what I thought you needed. I can't be that confused just to have you around. You make me so dang crazy, and I've found I like being sane, dear. I like being sane and clear. You didn't mean to fall into these patterns, but they remind me of being abused by some real abusers. And I know you're not an abuser, you're not even a loser, you're a winner for you. And I see all this greatness in you, and it makes me excited for you. But we're not on the same team, 'cause we don't need the same things. No, we're not on the same team, 'cause we don't need the same things. And in the core of my being, I will learn to choose lightness. And if you've chosen that darkness, and you're repelled by my lightness and by the words that I use, if they make you so angry, they make you want me to leave you, to get away, to go away, well, I will say that you've taught me a lot about how to be a friend to you. I have to give you your space, let you feel my space, let you see me walk away when you're unkind. And when you're really unkind, I have to let you be unkind until you learn to be kind of kind. I can't kindness you into kindness. I can't kindness bully you into kindness. I can't out-kind you, I can't out-kindness you. I can't be tolerant and tolerate you when you're cruel, when you make me feel like the uncool kid at school, when you shame me by all the ways you're not grateful for all the ways I tried to help you. I tried to help, I did, I do, even now I do, by staying away from you. I did, I do, I tried to help you. I'm sorry if it's confusing, but you've been really confusing. 2. Well, thanks for singing that duet with me. I'm assuming that's the cardinal. Oh, I can see him. Hi. Weird. I've never looked at a cardinal from behind. I only see his tail feathers. Sorry, I'm staring at your booty. I think that's the cardinal. I don't even want to get up and show you because, oh yeah, that's him. Well, you probably can't see him anyway. Ha ha ha. I guess I can't force this fake song just to get him to sing with me. Oh my gosh, this has been 40 minutes? What the heck is this video? What am I even singing about? I didn't mean to talk about these themes today, but I guess they needed to be talked about. Because, but I don't want to turn the 4th of July into this feeling. It's just that, well, I guess it's been a few years with these thoughts. It's not just last year. I think we all have complicated karma, and we have complicated relationships with people. And because I'm always constantly using journaling or video journaling to process my pain, sometimes there are some repeating themes, and some of them are ones I actually really did try to avoid because I knew what the stories were. I knew in advance when I didn't want to create these stories. I knew that they would be a coming together followed by a splitting apart, because I've played this same story. I've played this same role in this story with multiple people. It's a somebody that, you know, and maybe that's why I'm making this video, because if you relate to this idea of feeling a sort of natural barrier between you and a person, I was gonna say repulsion, but it's not that. There's a magnetism too. But if you feel a natural barrier because maybe you can feel that there's a lesson there you've already learned, and you can see the patterns and you see them in advance and you know how it will play out, and you could be wrong, but maybe you know what buttons it will push in you, and you just kind of have that natural feeling. Please, for the love of everything holy, do not force yourself to be the nice person and override your own intuition. I've done this my whole life. I've expected myself to be nicer than I feel inside. I think our inner beings, I don't know what that means. Our inner beings know what is nice to someone and what is like pressuring ourselves to show up inauthentically for someone. And in a particular situation in the last few years, I pressured myself to be nice in situations where I actually wanted to keep a little distance between me and a situation and or a person when they were in a certain place. Because I'm a very, very sensitive person to people's energy and emotions and vibe, and so when a person is in a particular place, I will pick it up. And so if I'm a little removed from that person, I can make sense of it, but if I'm a little bit too enmeshed with that person, I can't make sense of it. It will overwhelm my system, and I will pick it up and take it on like it's me. Or I will pick it up and take it on like it's my burden to carry their burden for them. And I've done that with so many people. Like, I've invented whole projects and albums and solutions for people, and devoted my life energy to other people's karma or healing or growth. Ultimately for my comfort, because I maybe didn't feel like I had a way to not be in close proximity emotionally with that person based on my life choices. And so I felt already enmeshed with them, and so the only solution was to help raise their energy to something that I could be myself inside of. But if the person lets you know they don't want that, or if the person's words says they want that and appreciate your help, but their actions say they don't, like, take natural distance. Have distance and space between you and people who make you feel smaller than you. Not who may. It's more fine-tuned than how I'm saying it. I think it's perfectly okay to help people, but I think that it's not okay to believe that you have to help people to the detriment of your own being. Especially when they're giving you nothing but cues to let you know they don't like this lopsided feeling with you. They don't like feeling like you're the helper slash teacher slash guru slash savior slash whatever, and they're the lowly this or that needs help. A lot of people don't like that dynamic. So if you feel an imbalance with them, if you feel like I resonate here and they are like woof, tearing their own life apart or their own relationships apart, and you're resonating here and you see that in them, whoops, I had to go soon, but I was getting a call. Anyway, if that's how you feel, then that's the truth of how you feel. You feel like you resonate here, already been through those lessons, already learned that stuff, they resonate here. Now your only choices are to come down to their level. Okay, hold on. Okay, so these are your two choices. You know, if you resonate here and they're resonating here, and maybe those are lessons you've already learned, your only choices are to come down to their level, or to try to pull them up to yours, or to accept that you are on different levels and keep the distance that is naturally there between the two of you. It is just naturally there. If you don't resonate with the stuff they resonate with, if you try to resonate with it, you are going down to that level, and it is making you sicker than you maybe naturally feel, because maybe you already learned those lessons. You already learned what it's like to complain about everything. You already learned what it's like to rage or be angry, or just, you know, in a journal or outwardly at people. You already maybe learned what it's like to just complain all the time. Did I say that one? You know, you already learned what it's like to have whatever that is, that more toxic kind of emotional reaction to life. And if you are now feeling this a lot of the time, but then you're around a person who feels this a lot of the time, it's like, it doesn't, there's no solution. There's no way to reconcile it other than you change by becoming more like that and meet them at their level that way, or you trying to pull them up to where you're at. But that is what I'm learning is a waste of life, because a lot of people who are there don't want you to do that. They don't want to be like pitied or like pulled up. I can't think of any like spiritual helper who's ever helped me by pitying me for where I was at. Like, oh, you're struggling with your trauma, let me help you, and like mothering me in that way. Like, it doesn't actually help. And fake nice doesn't help. And you know, if you actually feel kind of repelling feelings to the way a person's acting, like, let yourself be repelled. Like the magnet thing where it's the sides that don't magnetize and they bounce away from each other. Like, let yourself be. I mean, this is new information for me. I always felt guilty to react that way to people, and so I would shut down my own emotions and try to be what I thought they needed me to be, which was there for them, or whatever. Anyway, that's probably why I don't have very many friends, because that just made it sound like I think I'm higher resonating. I don't know if I am. I don't know what I am. I do feel like I have gone through a lot of growth experiences in the last few years, and not a lot of people want to do that. It's not very comfortable. But, well, I was going to write one more song, but Brian was trying to call, so I should call him back. So I will just go. There's the keyboard song. Bye.